Kente cloth, our most famous textile, is universally considered the crowning achievement of Ghana's artistic heritage. Its wealth of meaningful patterns and colors, intricately handwoven into a magnificent web, are testimony to the unique craftsmanship of highly skilled artisans. Kente is indigenous to the Asante and Ewe people of Ghana. Its evolution was closely linked to the rise of the Asante Empire and its need for powerful symbols of rank and prestige. Thus, Kente is, in its traditional application, a ceremonial cloth worn by royalty, high-ranking court officials, and important personages during significant religious, customary, and social events. The cloth is hand-woven on a horizontal treadle loom. Strips measuring between 3 and 4 inches wide are sewn together into standard-sized pieces of cloth. Kente comes in various colors, sizes, and designs. Each Kente pattern is unique and has a name and a meaning.
We have cloths purposely for our puberty rites. Puberty rites are childbearing or rites we perform on our children. When a child grows up into a womanhood, that are custom performed on her. So we use cloth as this. So when you go around Agotime, these are typical cloths we call titriku.
In technical terms, Kente represents a pinnacle of creative skill and weaving expertise. In historical, cultural, and social terms, however, it is much more than a fine textile. For Asantes, Ewes, and Ghanaians in general, Kente is a piece of their artistic heritage, which embodies the cultural, social, and religious norms and ideals of their traditional societies. Today, Kente is the best known and most widely appreciated of all African textiles and has been adopted throughout the African diaspora as a key symbol of Pan-Africanism and Afrocentric identity.
The first chief of Bonyere was Nana Bobi Ansa I. Our first settlement was called Chinesu. Our people then moved to Aiwakesie, near the present-day Bonyere township, due to water shortages and tribal conflict. There were 2 hunters named Otakrabain and Kruaguamiao, who, while walking through the forest, came upon a spider weaving an intricate web. They carefully studied the spider's weaving technique and used it to make the first cloth called Ayasintuma, meaning loincloth. Later, the Yokoman cloth was woven in colored yarns.
Kente weaving and royalty are inextricably linked. You have to ensure protection of the designs made for the Otumfo. They are not to be replicated for any other person.
The reason why Otumfo the Asantehene is the sole patron of Kente in Ashanti is because it's his traditional right and privilege. Kente today is not only a national treasure, but a universally acclaimed icon of craftsmanship, culture, and heritage.
The Kente weaving industries of both the Asante and Ewe are centered in and around particular towns and villages. Bonyere is the most renowned Kente weaving town in Asante, and others include Adaomase, Wono, Nsuta, and Ntonso. Agotime is a renowned Ewe Kente weaving town where practically every household can boast of a loom and a competent weaver. This is the main weaving center of the Adangme Ewes. Other well-known Ewe weaving centers are the towns of Vane, Kliko, and Agbozume. Agbozume, the Anglo Weaving Center, is particularly famous for its bustling Kente market, built several decades ago to take over from the original market at Keta, which became inaccessible due to sea erosion. Pando is the principal town and weaving heartland for the central Ewes. Among the Ewes, Kente has never been under exclusive royal patronage or monopoly, despite being a prestige textile. Thus, while Ewes use Kente in most traditional ceremonies of civil society, such as puberty rites, marriage and birth celebrations, the most traditional usage of Asante Kente occurs within the royal customs of the Asante court. In a contemporary context, however, Both Asante and Ewe Kente are used in civil society as the most prestigious form of ceremonial attire, whether for traditional or for modern style celebrations. In addition to its prestige value as the ultimate textile for special occasions, Kente cloth contains the wisdom of proverbs, which are visually represented through various warp stripe patterns in the Asante Kente and through symbolic pictorial motifs in Ewe Kente.
We have Kente weaving or cloth weaving as our major occupation. We do weave cloth of all kinds or size. Cloth weaving started as a local industry because the many places we settled, we grow cotton. And from these cotton farms, we spin our own cotton and wove into cloth. We did our own dyeing and coloring by the use of the saps of trees, by the use of sap from the leaves of trees and other things. We were able to produce the purple color. We produced the maroon color, that is wine. Then we were able to produce green. We started by making patterns we call artisome. These are type of the artisomes we make. We have a plain woven, or then after that we bring a pattern, and this type of design we started making, which we call artisue. And after this, people begin to put in motifs of this nature. This is a hat, these are stars, and all sorts of things. You can make human beings, you can make animals in cloth like this. So we call this type of cloth artisue, woven in cotton and color.
The art of Kente weaving is steeped in the traditional religious and spiritual practices of both the Asante and Ewe. Weavers are regarded as specially gifted people, and there are deities and ancestral spirits associated with Kente weaving. Thus, there are certain rites to be observed in connection with the loom and the weaving process. There are also a number of taboos. With the advent of modern social and religious influences, many of today's weavers who claim to be Christians shy away from the traditional beliefs and practices associated with their craft for fear of being considered pagans. There are, however, still a few people who hold onto the old ways, but are reluctant to talk about them as they are traditionally shrouded in secrecy. The majority of Asante and Ewe weavers belong to weaving lineages of many generations and have learned their trade through family instruction. Those who are not from weaving families have usually been apprenticed to master weavers under the traditional system. The technique of weaving Kente is extremely complex and difficult to follow for the non-weaver. Kente cloth has always been associated with wealth, rank, and privilege. Asante Kente, for example, in the 18th and 19th centuries, was worn only by royalty. Even today, there is a particularly elite grade of Kente cloth known as Asasien, which can only be worn by the Asante Hine, or by people who have been granted his permission to wear it. Most other grades of Asante Kente, however, are now available to anyone who can afford them. Although Ewe Kente is also strongly associated with royalty, it has always been available to those with the means to buy it. The modernization of Ghana's social and economic infrastructure in recent years has created the opportunity for many local craftsmen to market their products internationally. This has led to a steep rise in the demand for handcrafted goods such as Kente. Thus, Kente is now being produced on a more commercial scale than ever before. Many weavers have left their hometowns in the Ashanti and Volta regions to work in the capital city, Accra. They are weaving for a growing clientele base of tourists, most of whom are from the African diaspora in America, the Caribbean, and Europe. The reduction in royal patronage, the variations in clientele base, and the economic hardships of modern-day Ghana have led to some changes in the Kente industry. There has been some deterioration in quality due to factors such as the lack of good quality yarns, the lower degree of discernment among modern clients, and the gradual stagnation of many of the old Kente designs. However, there have also been innovations in the industry, which keep Kente in line with modern fashion trends and prevent it from becoming nothing more than an antiquated piece of Ghana's past. It is this ability to move with the times which makes Kente part of a living tradition. However, this ability also has its dangers, as it has led to the unrestrained global commercialization of kente patterns and has raised concerns about authenticity, as kente patterns are now being imitated on machine-woven and roller-printed fabrics.
Kente is something that points straightforward to Ghana, because any textile can be produced anywhere by anybody. But kente in particular is very, very difficult for anybody to do. Quite recently, we have been seeing some machine prints of kente cloths. It's just imitation. It has no match with kente, the hand-woven kente cloth at all. It's just like a calico being printed with some colors. But when it is far away, you can think it looks fine, but when it comes closer to you, you can see that it's of no value.
These developments are a threat to the cultural integrity of this treasured piece of Ghana's artistic heritage. The task of safeguarding the cultural integrity of kente while allowing it to continue as part of a living tradition is a serious challenge.
I use kente, the woven one, or the traditionally woven kente in the highest possible form. I never use kente casually because it is too important. It is the king or the queen of our fabrics, and hence it's used royally and in the royal regalia. When I use kente, it's always for evening wear and for very special occasions. The esteem of kente has to be maintained, and when I see people who don't understand kente use it anyhow, it saddens me.
In conclusion, there is no doubt that kente occupies a unique place in the hearts and minds of Ghanaians. Kente tells our story. It expresses our artistic and creative spirit, and it represents our wealth and prosperity. It is a symbol of our sense of community, common ambition, quest for success, and achievement itself. It has come to symbolize these things not only for Ghanaians, but also for people of African descent all over the world.